It's called Mountains Beyond Mountains. It's by Tracy Kidder. And I came across this book a few years ago when I was in residency. It's a book about, it's a biography really, of Dr. Paul Farmer. He's an infectious disease trained specialist as well as, I think he's an anthropologist. He's basically devoted his entire life to treating the poor. What I liked about this book too was the timing when I read it. I was also doing an international rotation in Malawi in Africa at a pediatric HIV clinic. And at that time was getting some hands-on experience what it was like to try to provide medical care in a developing country. He's really been an inspiration to try to be more selfless and to really serve those who are in need the most. Richard Scarry books, and we have just about all of them. We have the big red one, it's the biggest book in the world, I think, and then there's the funniest story books and the word books. My son, who's 3 years old, he absolutely loves them. My favorite movie is Splash from sometime in the mid-1980s. A huge John Candy fan, Daryl Hannah, Tom Hanks, and I used to want to be a mermaid. That's how I came up with Splash, yeah. It was a 30-acre farm about an hour from where I grew up in Tennessee. So my grandmother's farm is in Southwest Virginia. And it was kind of, I was doing all the tomboy things growing up, which was great. Chasing frogs, salamanders, getting fresh chicken eggs, gardening with my grandmother, picking beans, canning green beans. It was idyllic, really. I feel like nowadays kids are kind of so focused on video games and they don't get that outdoor experience. And to have had that, I just feel really fortunate. My new thing this past summer was straw bale gardening, which a lot of people haven't heard of this, but you basically take a straw bale and you condition it with a high nitrogen fertilizer to break it. It starts the decomposing process, and you water it really well over the course of several weeks. And when it starts to break down, it provides this really good substrate for vegetables and fruit and other plants, flowers, herbs. You can put basically anything in it. So this past early summer, my son helped me plant a bunch of fruits and vegetables, and we harvested them, and it works. And it's great for a small space, especially if you just have a patio. You can just put the straw bale right on top of the cement or patio rather than digging in the dirt. This is a little something I brought that reminds me of home. I grew up in Kingsport, Tennessee, which is about 20 minutes from Hiltons, Virginia, and that's the birthplace of the Carter family. And their original home place, it's called the Carter Family Fold, is still there. It's basically an old converted barn where they host live bluegrass concerts every Saturday night. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go to this growing up. In high school, what did we do? We would go to the Carter Fold and we would listen to bluegrass music. One of the most memorable concerts I heard here was actually one from Johnny Cash. Got to hear his last performance before he passed away, and that was pretty powerful. This instrument is called the cello. It's a medium-sized string instrument after the violin, viola, and then the cello, and then of course the biggest one is the stand-up bass. This instrument is usually used in symphonies or orchestras, more classical music, but you can play it any way you want to. You can even play bluegrass on the cello.
Have you played bluegrass on the cello?
No, but that's my next goal in life. Is it's either teach myself to play banjo or play bluegrass on the cello. That's next in line. My father is an ophthalmologist, and my grandfather, general surgeon, and my mom is a nurse. My mom and my father met while he was in residency, and my mom in nursing school in Virginia. So I got brought up in that kind of environment, and early on I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do, was medicine. Well, the kids by far, the patients. That's why I went into pediatrics. You get to have fun at work, and then to me that's what it's all about. Looking forward to going to work and being able, you can play with the kids.